Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kidley. Let's talk about this Warcraft movie. I just got back from the theater, and you know what? I thought it was pretty great. Now, before I get into it, a couple things. This is going to be a completely spoiler-free review, and I will be talking a little bit about stuff that was in the trailers. So if you haven't seen the trailers, if you're one of those people who want a completely clean slate, you probably won't want to watch this. But otherwise, it's going to be pretty spoiler-free. And then the next thing I want to talk about is, I've never posted any Warcraft stuff on the channel, so people might not know exactly, where my knowledge base is with the lore and the games and all that. So, starting off with that, really my first experience with Warcraft was World of Warcraft back in 2004. I was one of those people who got in on the first week, and I played it for a long time. That was my game. That was the only thing I did. And for games like that, I consume everything. The lore, the books, absolutely everything. So I got real deep into the lore. And I think I quit when a lot of others did, and that was around Cataclysm. And when I dropped off, I dropped everything. I didn't touch that game for years, and actually it's only been recently where I kind of got back into it a little bit. Now, the old Warcraft games, 1, 2, 3, and so on, I've never actually played those. In recent years, I've actually gone back and I've seen other people play them, and so I've kind of got a rough idea of what the story is for those games, and I've done some readings on that stuff as well. So that's sort of a brief look into my history for sort of the Warcraft franchise. So, getting into the movie, the first thing I want to talk about are the bad reviews. Now, you may have heard that it opened overseas before it opened here in the United States, and over in China, and I believe as of a day ago or a couple days ago, Warcraft was #1 in 20 countries around the world. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it does here in the United States and the UK when this goes through here for the full week. But on sites like Rotten Tomatoes, the so-called experts are just absolutely giving this movie terrible reviews. But here's why. And that is, this is really the first video game movie that is made for the fans. As I'm sure you know, video game movies have a very poor track record. And one of the reasons for that is because they'll take a video game franchise, they'll take the characters, maybe pieces of the lore, the set pieces, that kind of thing, but they turn it into a big production movie for a broader audience, and that's the key word there, a broader audience. For this one, it appears that they did not do that. They said, we're going to make this movie for the Warcraft, for the World of Warcraft fans, and that's exactly what they did. So these reviewers that are crapping on this movie, they're crapping on it for two reasons. One, they just don't understand what's going on. And after seeing the movie, I can clearly see that now. If I knew nothing about Warcraft, I can definitely see why they're saying some of the things that they're saying. And then the second reason I believe why people are crapping on this movie is because they know that it's such a huge fan base that they're actually making like clickbaity type articles. And that's something that other people have brought up as well. But like I said, I thought the movie was fantastic, and like my official rating on it, and I'm kind of jumping way ahead here, but my official rating on it would probably be a 7 out of 10. Now, the movie itself, probably the coolest thing as a fan is just simply seeing all of that universe on the big screen for the first time. There are so many amazing set pieces. Again, in the trailer, they've shown off Stormwind and Elwyn Forest, and there was a quick shot of several other, human towns or villages that you immediately recognize from World of Warcraft. And once you actually get into the movie, they go even crazier with those big epic shots, and you're just sitting there like, oh, I know that place, and I know that place, and I know that place. It's so cool to see them on the big screen. It really is. One issue that I do have with the movie is actually an issue that a lot of these new movies are having here recently. Same with like the Batman Superman movie, and that is they are trying to cram almost so much information and so much lore and so many characters into the film. They almost have issues doing that, and I think this movie suffers from that a little bit, not much, but a little bit. The biggest issue that I have with the characters is I felt like some of them were not developed well enough. There are some certain things that happen in the movie where I was kind of like, I really wish there would have been more time for them to really explain this or talk about this or something along those lines with some of the characters. I think that was really the weak spot for me in the movie is character development. I just wish there would have been more time to actually flush out some of that stuff. But like I said, the movie overall was great. It was great seeing a lot of those items on the big screen for the first time. They put in a lot of little details for the fans, and that's something that's not to be overstated. It's like other people are saying the same thing. It's like you really need to look at the scenes, and that's something that I was doing. Is I was like really trying to study every little detail and every little scene to pick up all the little things they were trying to put in, and they did add a bunch of stuff. I mean, it was like, being there. It was just really, really cool, and I thought they did a good job with it overall. I think who they chose for their casting, I don't see really any issues with any of the casting. The one that I have a slight issue with is, and I actually don't even know the actor's name off the top of my head, but it's whoever plays Medivh. I had a slight issue with him. I kind of had some very slight issues with that character, but they were very, very minor. Very, very minor. But I thought everybody else was casted well. The action sequences, the CGI. Actually, the CGI going into the movie and the early trailers that were released, that was one of the biggest things. It's like, oh, this doesn't look right with these CGI orcs versus the real humans. Why didn't they go CGI everything? Now that we've seen the final product, I thought it all looked fine. I had no issues with the way that anything looked, the real versus the CGI, or anything. There was actually only one scene. There was one scene in the movie where I thought they messed up because I could tell it was a green screen. But the rest of it was flawless. And that one scene was, maybe a 10-second scene or something. It was really short. It's like, I was thinking when that scene popped up, I'm like, they could have worked on that one just a little bit more, But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really, really want to talk about. Like I said, it was a great movie overall. They're going to be doing more of them. I mean, that's obvious. The story for this one, and this is not a spoiler, the story for this one is Warcraft 1. And you can see that from the trailers. Orcs versus humans. And then it's going to be really interesting to see if they end up doing, 2, 3, and moving forward through World of Warcraft. Everybody's already screaming for, we want that Arthas story, or, we want the Lynch King stuff, and that sort of thing. I think if they eventually get to that point, that could be probably the best movie that they do. But they have a lot of other really interesting stories along the lines that they could be doing. But yeah, I think that, ladies and gentlemen, will go ahead and do it for this video. I'd love to hear what you have to say on the subject. Did you see the movie? Did you like it? Please leave a comment below. And yeah, that will go ahead and do it for this movie. So thank you all so much for watching. And everybody keep playing and have fun.